Good morning, good Shabbos, welcome. The Torah portion this week is Beshallach, which means and they were sent, or Beshallach Pharaoh, and Pharaoh sent the people out of Egypt. So by the time all of those the signs and wonders of the plagues and the last plague that was, the worst, with the killing of the firstborn, the word shalach, Paro sent them. He said, go, get out of here, which was like almost, maybe it's the final impetus. There was no staying in Egypt. So the people went and they experienced fear when they got to the edge of the sea, the Yam Suf, the Red Sea. But then they persevered and went through, and with that faith, the sea parted. And it's been likened to a birth canal, like going through the waters and coming out on the other side. They go through the waters as a people leaving, and they, on the other side, they become a cohesive people. They're not leaving, they're journeying now as a community on their own, with their leader Moshe and with God as the ultimate leader. So I see the whole journey, that the signs and wonders were also for the Israelites to see the power of God, and of course the huge power of God with parting the sea, and we have the song of Moshe, the song by the sea, and Miriam, Moses' sister, who's called a prophetess, Miriam HaNeviah, sister of Aaron. She became a prophet when she was a little girl before Moshe was born. She foresaw Moshe's birth, and just as a child, she had this faith that there would be a leader, and it was her job to make sure that Moshe survived. And you know the stories for that. But so she takes the drum and takes the women out they dance and sing with the drums, and they had so much faith that they brought drums on this journey. What are you going to take when you're leaving home? People have to leave home, from hurricanes and tornadoes and wildfires. What do you take? What do you put in the car, or if you have a car? So they took drums. They knew they would be celebrating, and this is when they used the drums. So they had the option. There was an option. Moshe had the option to lead them the short route from Egypt into Mishraim, which means a narrow place, into Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, the promised land, a short route. It would have taken them 11 days to walk this route, but they would have to cross a warlike people, the Philistine, who would live between Egypt and the promised land, and Moshe didn't want them to have to fight. And also, God needed them. They needed to have time to become a people, to become a holy people. These are people who had been enslaved, and they really didn't. They had lost their spirits. They had lost their spiritual connections, many, for the most part. So they needed to become a people and to know God. So the first thing they're testing God. Where's the water? We're hungry, we're thirsty. Are you going to just have signs and wonders? What about just our survival? So one of the first things is God sweetens the waters, and they have to drink. And then what are we to eat in this wilderness, in this midbar, this called the desert? And then they receive the gift of manna. Food rains from the sky. And then, so they're seeing that God's taking care, is aware of their physical needs of survival. And then after Moses goes to the mountain, and they have this huge spiritual experience, all of them hearing the word and sending Moses up to receive the Torah. Then they build the Mishkan, and with the dwelling, which is the tabernacle. And with the building of the tabernacle, God has asked Moses, that's been part of God's plan, so that I may dwell among them. Bushakanti batocham, and I will dwell inside them, or in them. So we see this trajectory of leaving the confines of slavery, and being awed by the amazingness of what they've witnessed, and having their physical needs met, and then hearing this thunder and seeing the thunder and hearing the lightning at Sinai, and then God's dwelling inside. And it's this whole trajectory of becoming acquainted with who we really are, that God's inside of us. And we, through this story and through our lives, we can know that God is in every pore of our being. There is nothing but God, so we are a manifestation of the divine in this separate, apparently separate form. And because it feels like a separate form, we have free will, we have the ability to shut out God. But if we wake up to the truth, then we know that there's no shutting out, because God's already in us. So for today's meditation, I would like to invite you to sense that. And I'm going to lead a little bit of a guided beginning to our silent time together. So you can go ahead and close your eyes and get comfortable. And take some breaths. Breathe in and breathe out. And with each breath, breathe the in-breath, feel God coming from wherever. In-breath, you can breathe up through the feet, that this is presence in your feet, and coming up through the ankles and the legs and the knees and the thighs, and through the torso and through the heart, and up through the head, this soul, this neshama, this spirit. That can we sense that coming, this energy that's sustaining us from the ground, from the earth, all the way up through the mental faculties of the brain and the senses in the mind, and breathing this in, breathing it up. And now, almost with the out-breath, feel the presence coming down through the crown of the head and through the skull and all the sensitive areas of the face and the neck, and into the heart center in the chest. And breathe it in again. And feel the arms and the blood circulating this holy life force that's in us, and down through the torso and the digestive system, and down through the hips and both legs, and through the knees, and down into the ankles and the soles of the feet into the earth. Take some breaths in that. Now in this God field, notice on the pores of the skin and in the circulation of the blood, the oxygenated blood and the capillaries and the small, every organ, all the tissues that form our body, every cell is filled with God and surrounded by God. Mamale, filling, Sove, surrounding, and each smallest of the smallest of the smallest, and encompassing all around us. So with these breaths, let's breathe into the small places, maybe the tight spots, and let them loosen. Let the tightness become loose. Become free enough to be inhabited. You know, we're always inhabited, but we may not see it. Know who is dwelling batoch, inside of you. And we are never alone. We're always part of this divine nature. That is our birthright, and the birthright of all life, all existence, all one. So let the silence carry you into your own journey, and I'll ring the bell at the end. Welcome back. I just want to show you the painting or the print by Jonathan Green that's behind me. It reminds me of coming across on the other side of the sea. You know, the Yam Suf, the sea, the Red Sea is actually translated the Sea of Reeds. And you can see they're in the sweet grass, and they've gathered the grass for making baskets or whatever they need. But just imagining that they're coming from crossing the sea, and this is the leader. Doesn't it remind you of crossing the sea? That's one of the things I love about this this print from Jonathan Green, a South Carolina artist, and that's a scene from the coast near Charleston, off the coast of South Carolina, one of the islands. So, as I was sitting, I realized that one thing that would be helpful in this meditation would be to have a kind of a mantra of breathing in and out with Yud Hey on the in-breath and Vav Hey on the out-breath. Those are the 4 letters of the unpronounceable name that is leading the children of Israel into this freedom, taking us into freedom. And today, this freedom, I think, is really in the mind and how we understand reality and our own holy embodiment and holy purpose in this life, to serve goodness, to serve truth, to serve goodness, to see and experience beauty in nature and others around us and ourselves and our good hearts. So bless you. I want to bless you for a Sabbath of peace. Whatever day you're observing Sabbath, for us starts tonight, Friday night and Saturday, and our Christian friends observe it on Sunday, and our Muslim friends observe this day of rest on Friday. It's important to have a day in the week to be with God. Shabbat Shalom.